So you're thinking about a career in project management, huh? That's awesome. But I bet it feels like you need a project manager just to figure out how to even become one.
Yeah, it's definitely a field that seems to attract a ton of information and, well, misinformation too, to be
That
honest.
which is why we're doing this deep dive. We're really going to get into what it really means to be a project manager. We're going beyond the buzzwords today.
Yeah, let's ditch those for sure.
So what does the job actually involve, and how can you stand out when it seems like everyone and their mom is applying for these roles?
First things first, we got to clear up a really common misconception.
Oh, lay it on me.
It's not all Gantt charts and spreadsheets. That's not all there is to it.
Right, it's about people, too. It's about leading a team, hitting a target, and often with not a lot of time or resources.
Exactly. It's more like, think of it like conducting an orchestra, you know?
Oh, I like that.
You're not playing an instrument yourself, but you are responsible for making sure that every musician is like in sync. They got to hit all the right notes at the right time. You're aiming for that perfect harmony.
I love that analogy, and it really highlights how important leadership is in this role. And speaking of hitting the right notes, our career guide actually digs into some really interesting, maybe even surprising things that fall under a project manager's responsibilities.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
I'm talking about risk assessment,
Yeah.
spotting those potential problems before they can totally derail everything.
Yeah, that's huge. But, gotta say, the guy doesn't sugarcoat things either. There are definitely some challenges.
Oh, for sure.
There's a certain, I don't know, satisfaction you get when you see a project through, from that initial idea to the very end. But it's not always easy getting there.
I bet. Especially when you've got those deadlines looming and budgets you have to stick to.
You got to be on top of your game.
Right.
The guide even uses some pretty intense language, fast-paced, high stakes. And I think those are pretty accurate descriptions.
So it sounds like it takes a certain kind of person to handle all that, someone who doesn't crack under pressure.
Oh, absolutely. You need to be
Okay.
able to adapt, roll with the punches. It's not for everyone.
But it sounds incredibly rewarding for those who are up for the challenge.
You said it, bringing a vision to life.
Yeah.
It's like you were the one who made it all happen.
So we've talked about how project management is about way more than just like organizing a spreadsheet.
It's definitely more dynamic than that.
You need serious leadership skills. You got to be able to adapt to anything. It's a lot to juggle. But how do you actually land one of these jobs? Because I have a feeling just putting good communication skills on your resume isn't going to cut it.
You're not wrong. It takes a lot more these days, especially with AI getting more and more involved in the whole hiring process.
It feels like you need to outsmart a robot overlord just to get your foot in the door.
Well, it's not quite that dramatic,
Ugh.
but it is a new world out there.
Yeah.
And that's where RoleCatcher comes in.
I've heard good things.
It's a game changer. It really helps you understand this new playing field.
From what I've seen, it's almost like RoleCatcher has this secret decoder ring for job descriptions.
Right.
It helps you figure out what those hiring managers are really looking for, and then it helps you explain your own skills in a way they'll actually get.
Exactly. And it's not just about keywords.
Well, tell me more about that.
RoleCatcher uses AI to really dig into those job postings. It can tell which skills and experience are the most important for a specific role.
So it's like, even if two job descriptions sound similar, RoleCatcher can spot the subtle differences?
Exactly. Like you mentioned communication skills, which, yeah, that's important. But RoleCatcher might look at a job description and be like, hold on, they're really emphasizing stakeholder management here, or this one's all about conflict resolution. You see what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. It's giving you those extra layers, the stuff that's not always obvious just from skimming a job posting.
Exactly. It's about understanding those nuances. And once you've got that down, RoleCatcher can help you tailor your resume to really highlight those in-demand skills.
So you're putting your best foot forward. You're speaking their language right from the start.
Exactly. And it can even give you personalized recommendations,
Oh, wow. Like what?
like courses or certifications that could give your application an extra edge.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of certifications, the career guide mentioned a few that are super valuable in the project management world. Things like PMP and agile methodologies. Can you break those down for us, for those of us who aren't totally fluent in project management lingo?
Yeah, of course. So the Project Management Professional Certification, the PMP, that's like the gold standard in the industry.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
It's recognized all over the world, and it basically shows that you know your stuff when it comes to project management best practices. It tells people you can lead and direct projects effectively. Agile, on the other hand, It's a little different.
How so?
It's more of a framework. It really focuses on being flexible, being able to collaborate effectively, and that whole iterative development process.
So if PMP is like your solid foundation, Agile is more about being able to adapt on the fly.
That's a really good way to put it. And the
Yeah.
career guide actually suggests that you research which methodologies are most common in the industry you're interested in.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, because that can really influence which certifications will give you the biggest advantage.
So it's not just about racking up as many certifications as possible. It's about being strategic and choosing the ones that actually make sense for your goals.
100%. All those certifications are important. Remember, they're just one piece of the puzzle.
Okay, what are the other pieces?
The career guide really emphasizes how important it is to build a solid portfolio.
Right, showing what you've actually done.
Exactly. Showcase your experience, highlight those successful projects you've worked on, prove you can deliver.
So you need both. You need the credentials and the experience to back it up.
Exactly. But there's even more to it than that, believe it or not.
Really? What else is there?
It's those intangible skills, the soft skills. Those can really make or break a project manager.
It really is. Like they always say, it's all about who you know.
Mm-hmm.
But in project management, it's got to be a bit of both.
Well, 100%. I mean, your technical skills, those are going to get you through the door. But it's the other stuff. That's what's going to set you apart.
The people skills.
Exactly. How well you can connect with people, build those relationships, and handle all the different personalities, that's crucial in this line of work.
And the career guide really dives into this in the typical interactions section. It's like you get a sneak peek into the day-to-day.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
It covers all sorts of situations, dealing with stakeholders, trying to manage everyone's expectations, sometimes even having to put out fires, and all while keeping your team motivated and making sure they're on track.
It's a lot, for sure.
Sounds like emotional intelligence is non-negotiable.
You can say that again. Remember, a project manager, yeah, you're managing a project, but you're also leading people.
Right.
You're constantly negotiating. You're practically a therapist at times.
I bet.
And you're dealing with so many different people, all with different communication styles, different priorities, different stress levels. You got to be adaptable.
So self-awareness is key. And empathy. If you can't understand your own emotions, how are you going to manage a whole team through a high-pressure project?
It's impossible.
Yeah.
And the guide actually had this story. It was about this one project manager.
Oh, what happened?
They took something a client said way too personally.
Oh, no.
Like the client was frustrated, which is normal,
Yeah.
but this manager, they saw it as a personal attack.
Oof, forced disaster.
And it totally blew up. It became this huge issue.
Proof that emotional intelligence really does impact everything.
It's not just about the project itself. And the guide really stresses this point that you need to be a clear and concise communicator, but you also need to be a really good listener.
Right.
Like really paying attention to what people are saying and also what they're not saying, making sure everyone's on the same page.
Because miscommunication can really throw things off track. And even when things go wrong, and let's be honest, it happens to everyone.
And that happened, yeah.
You have to be able to pivot, solve the problem, get creative.
Resourcefulness is key. And remember those examples we talked about, the project managers who made it to the top?
Yeah, the rock stars.
They were more than just technically skilled. Of course, they had that down. But they were also masters of communication. They knew how to collaborate effectively, and they were amazing at resolving conflicts.
So they had the whole package.
Exactly. They could build trust with their teams. They knew how to cultivate a really positive and productive work environment. And I think most importantly, they inspired the people around them.
It's so awesome to hear about those success stories. So for anyone out there who's ready to jump into the world of project management, what's the most important thing to remember?
Don't just aim to be a project manager. Aim to be an exceptional one.
I love that.
Yeah, and invest in your technical skills, definitely. But don't underestimate the power of those interpersonal skills. Those are so important. Really cultivate your emotional intelligence, work on your communication skills, and always remember, behind every successful project, there's a team of people who are guided and inspired to work together toward a common goal. And that all comes down to leadership.
That is some seriously inspiring advice. And for anyone who wants some extra guidance along the way, RoleCatcher and those career guides, those are fantastic resources. Knowledge is power, people, especially when it comes to making big career decisions.
I'm all about making informed decisions. And, as you start this journey, Think about this.
Okay, I'm listening.
How can you go beyond just delivering projects on time and within budget? How can you really make a positive impact on the people you work with? How can you leave your mark on the organizations you're a part of?
Wow, those are some powerful questions. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the exciting world of project management. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, happy learning.